Hey, 8th graders, Wednesday, April 29th here. Uh, we are reading Antony and Cleopatra. Act 5 is what you're reading this week. Narration at the end of the week, finishing it up. Hopefully, you've enjoyed our time in Shakespeare. I want to talk a little bit about Octavius today. We've mentioned him several times. He's the guy who becomes Caesar Augustus, emperor, ruler, king of all of Rome, which is a dramatic change from the republic that it used to be. Uh, I wanted to talk a little bit about the religion in Rome. We know that in Greece they had a lot of gods. Remember from our time in Greece and also in Egypt and lots of places they were people who believed in lots of god polytheists. And in Athens and most of Greece, Athena was one of the most important gods. Right? We remember she's the god of war and wisdom. There are other gods who do warlike stuff, but Athena was kind of prized above everybody else, especially in Athens. Uh, Rome had the same kinds of gods. They had different names for the same kinds of gods. So instead of Zeus, they had Jupiter, and instead of um, mm, Hera, they had Minerva, right? And different names for the same kinds of people, gods. Um, the god that they cared the most about in uh, in Rome during the time of Caesar Augustus Octavius was Mars Ultor, who would be like Ares in Greek mythology. And there's a picture of him there on the screen, Mars Ultor, which means Mars the Avenger. Mars the Avenger. And or maybe you could translate Ultor instead of Avenger, Punisher. Mars the Punisher. And that's who they renew their interest in Rome. And Octavius is going to have a temple built to Mars the Avenger, Mars the Punisher. Here's what artists think it might have looked like. There's only just little remnants of it today left in Rome. If you were to go to Rome, you wouldn't see all of this. You just see the ruins of it. This is probably what it looked like, something like this. And at this temple, they would have had sacrifices, animal sacrifices, especially bulls. And this is where the end of triumphs would lead you to. If you were someone who got to have a parade for you, this is where it would lead to the temple of Mars Ultor, the Punisher, the Avenger. That's what they valued in Rome. They had similar gods to Greece, but really their focus was on the strength of the gods, not in craftiness and wisdom and intellect, but on power and strength and being able to crush your enemies. Um, so the gods that we worship often tell us a lot about the kinds of people we are, right? And you could think about um, the gods that the Greeks worshipped, and we get a little insight into who the Greeks were. We think about the gods the Egyptians worshipped, and we start to understand who the Egyptians were, and we start to become like the things we worship, and that's one reason we need to worship God often, so we can become like Him. We want to be like God. We want to imitate Jesus, so we worship Jesus. If you worship other things, you'll become like those other things. And so Rome worshipped Mars the Punisher. And that's who they were. They were punishers. And they were brutal and violent people. And they were the people who invented crucifixion, after all. So uh, that's our lesson for today. Real quick summary of uh, who are they prized in Rome. They prized Mars. Among all the gods, I think Mars was their main god, the god that they liked the best. Mars the Avenger. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow.